I believed I had taken her life. But in truth, I nearly lost my own. Part 1. The Hunt Commander Viral Koth stood at the bridge of his warship and watched the desert planet grow larger in the viewing screen. Helios 4 was a dying world, covered in red sand and ancient stone. Most species had abandoned it long ago. But humans were strange creatures. They built colonies in the most terrible places, as if they enjoyed suffering. Viral had served the Dominion for 40 cycles. He had killed many beings in that time. Some had begged for mercy. Others had fought until their last breath. A few had tried to run. None of them had escaped him. He was the best hunter in the 7th Fleet, and everyone knew it. Today his target was a human female. Her name was Dr. Elena Vasquez. She was a scientist who studied alien life and ancient civilizations. The Dominion Council had marked her for death 3 days ago, and they had sent Viral to carry out the sentence. He did not ask why. He never asked why. The Council gave orders, and he followed them. That was how the Dominion had ruled the galaxy for 10,000 years. Questions led to doubt. Doubt led to weakness. Weakness led to extinction. His second officer approached and handed him a datapad. The screen showed a photograph of the human woman. She had dark hair pulled back from her face and brown eyes that looked tired but determined. She was small, even by human standards. Viral could have crushed her skull with one hand. She was last seen entering the temple complex in the northern desert, the officer said. Our scans show one life sign inside. No weapons detected. Viral nodded slowly. Prepare my shuttle. I will handle this personally. The officer looked surprised. Commander, we could simply bomb the site from orbit. It would be faster. The Council wants confirmation, Viral replied. They want to see her body. They want to be certain she is dead. This was unusual. The Council rarely cared about confirmation. A bomb building was usually enough proof for them. But Viral had learned not to question unusual orders. They always had reasons, even if those reasons were hidden from him. He took the shuttle down alone. The red sand swirled around his craft as he landed near the temple entrance. The ruins were old, far older than the Dominion itself. Some said they were built by the Precursors, a civilization that had existed millions of years ago. But the Precursors were just a legend, a story told to frighten children. Viral stepped out onto the sand. The wind was hot and dry against his scales. He checked his plasma rifle and walked toward the temple. The entrance was a massive doorway carved into the side of a cliff. Strange symbols covered the stone, writing in a language that no one could read. Viral ignored them. He was not here to study. He was here to kill. Inside, the temple was dark and cool. His eyes adjusted quickly. He could see the footprints in the dust on the floor, small human feet heading deeper into the ruins. He followed them without making a sound. The temple was larger than it appeared from outside. Corridors branched off in every direction, leading to chambers filled with broken statues and collapsed ceilings. But the footprints never turned. They went straight ahead, as if the human woman knew exactly where she was going. Viral began to feel uneasy. Something was wrong about this place. The air felt heavy, like it was pressing against his chest. The shadows seemed to move when he was not looking directly at them. He tightened his grip on his rifle and kept walking. After several minutes, he found her. She was standing in a large circular chamber at the heart of the temple. The ceiling had collapsed long ago, and pale sunlight filtered down through the hole. Dust floated in the light like tiny stars. The human woman stood with her back to him. She was looking at something on a pedestal in the center of the room. It was a sphere, black as night, covered in the same strange symbols that decorated the entrance. "Step away from that object," Viral said. His voice echoed off the stone walls. The woman turned slowly. She did not look afraid. Her eyes were calm and steady as she looked at him. There was something strange about those eyes, something that made Viral uncomfortable. They seemed to glow faintly, like embers buried in ash. "You are from the Dominion," she said. It was not a question. "You are Dr. Elena Vasquez. You have been sentenced to death by the Dominion Council. For what crime?" Viral raised his rifle. "That is not your concern." The woman smiled. It was a sad smile, full of knowing. "You do not even know why you are killing me. You are just following orders. Just doing your job." "Yes," Viral said. He felt no shame in admitting it. Orders were orders. "I found something here," Elena said. She looked back at the black sphere. "Something the Dominion has been trying to hide for thousands of years. Something that could change everything. I do not care what you found. I know." She turned back to face him. "But one day you will. One day everyone will." Viral fired. 3 bolts of superheated plasma crossed the chamber in less than a second. They struck the human woman in the chest, burning through her clothes and flesh. She made a small sound, almost like a sigh, and fell backward onto the stone floor. Viral walked forward and looked down at her body. Her eyes were open, staring at nothing. Her chest did not move. There was no pulse in her neck when he checked that she was dead. He activated his communicator. "Target eliminated. Requesting extraction." He took photographs of the body as proof. He recorded the scene carefully. Then he turned and walked out of the temple without looking back. The shuttle carried him back to his ship. The ship carried him away from Helios 4. Within hours, the planet was just another point of light in the darkness of space. Viral filed his report and returned to his quarters. He cleaned his rifle and ate his evening meal. He slept without dreams. He did not think about the human woman. He did not wonder about the black sphere or the strange glow in her eyes. She was just another target, another name crossed off a list. But deep in the ruins of that ancient temple, something was happening. Something that would shake the foundations of the Dominion and change the galaxy forever. Because Elena Vasquez was not finished yet. Death, for her, was only the beginning. I believed I had taken her life. But in truth, I nearly lost my own part too. The awakening Elena Vasquez opened her eyes in complete darkness. For a long moment, she did not know where she was. She did not know who she was. There was only the darkness and the cold stone against her back and a terrible burning pain in her chest. Then the memories came flooding back. The temple, the sphere, the alien commander with his rifle raised, the flash of plasma bolts, the feeling of her body falling. She had died. She was certain of it. She remembered the exact moment when her heart stopped beating. She remembered the darkness, swallowing her like a great ocean. But she was not dead now. Elena tried to move and found that she could not. Something heavy was pressing down on her body. Stone, she realized. Part of the ceiling must have collapsed after she fell. She was buried under rubble in the heart of an ancient ruin on a planet where no one would think to look for her. She should have been afraid. She should have been screaming. But instead, she felt strangely calm. Something inside her had changed. Something fundamental had shifted in the very core of her being. She pushed against the stone above her. It should have been impossible. The rocks were heavy, and she was a small woman who had never been particularly strong. But the stone moved. It moved easily, as if it weighed nothing at all. Elena climbed out of the rubble and stood in the pale moonlight that filtered through the hole in the ceiling. She looked down at herself. Her clothes were burned and torn where the plasma bolts had struck her. She could see her skin through the holes, but there were no wounds, no burns, no scars. Her skin was smooth and unmarked, as if the attack had never happened. She pressed her hand against her chest. She could feel her heart beating, strong and steady. But she remembered. She remembered being dead. The black sphere sat on its pedestal in the center of the chamber. It seemed to glow faintly in the moonlight, though that might have been her imagination. Elena walked toward it on unsteady legs. She had touched the sphere 3 days ago, when she first found it in the ruins. She had felt something then, a strange warmth spreading through her body, a tingling sensation in her blood. She had not understood what it meant. Now she understood. The sphere was not just an artifact. It was not just a relic from some ancient civilization. It was a gift, a weapon, a tool designed to fight extinction itself. Elena reached out and touched the sphere again. This time, the warmth was stronger. She could feel it moving through her veins, rewriting her cells, changing her into something new. She was still human, but she was also something more. Images flashed through her mind. She saw great cities floating among the stars. She saw beings of light and shadow waging war across the galaxy. She saw civilizations rising and falling over millions of years. And she saw the precursors, the ancient ones who had built the temples and created the spheres. They had known this day would come. They had known that someday a species would arise that needed their help. A species that would face extinction at the hands of conquerors. A species that refused to die. The precursors had left their weapons scattered across the galaxy, hidden in ruins and buried under sand, waiting for someone worthy to find them. Elena had found one, and now it had chosen her. She pulled her hand away from the sphere. The visions faded, but the power remained. She could feel it humming in her bones, flowing through her muscles, sharpening her senses until the darkness of the temple seemed bright as day. Elena climbed out of the ruins and stood on the red sand under a sky full of unfamiliar stars. The wind was cold against her skin, but she did not feel it. She was beyond cold now, beyond pain, beyond death itself. She thought about the alien commander who had shot her. He'd been so certain, so professional. He had killed her without hesitation or remorse. He had walked away without a second thought. He did not know what he had done. The Dominion had ruled the galaxy for 10,000 years. They conquered any species that might one day threaten their power. They destroyed any technology that might give others an advantage. They believed they were unstoppable. They were wrong. Elena began walking across the desert. She did not know exactly where she was going, but she knew what she had to do. The Dominion had tried to kill her. They had tried to bury the truth about the precursors and their gifts. They had murdered countless innocent beings to protect their empire. That it was time for that empire to fall. She walked for 3 days without rest. She did not need sleep anymore. She did not need food or water. The power of the sphere sustained her, giving her everything she needed to survive. On the 4th day, she reached a small trading post on the edge of the desert. Ships came and went, carrying goods and passengers between worlds. Elena watched them from a distance and made her plans. She needed a ship. She needed to leave Helios 4 and begin her work. The Dominion was vast, but it was also slow and confident. They did not know she was alive. They did not know what she had become. That ignorance would be their downfall. Elena walked into the trading post. The aliens inside looked at her with curiosity. A human woman, alone, covered in dust, with strange golden light glowing in her eyes. Some of them reached for their weapons. She smiled at them. It was not a threatening smile. It was the smile of someone who had seen death and come back from it. Someone who was no longer afraid of anything. "I need a ship," she said. Her voice was calm and quiet. "I will pay fairly. But one way or another, I am leaving this planet today." The aliens looked at each other. They saw something in her eyes that made them uneasy. Something ancient and powerful and completely beyond their understanding. One of them, a trader with blue skin and 4 arms, stepped forward. "I have a small cargo vessel. It is old but fast. Where you want to go? Elena thought about the Dominion commander who had shot her. She thought about the council that had ordered her death. She thought about all the innocent people across the galaxy living under the Dominion's iron fist. Everywhere, she said. I want to go everywhere. The traitor nodded slowly. He did not ask any more questions. Elena boarded the ship and left Helios 4 behind. The red desert grew smaller and smaller until it disappeared entirely. Then there was only the stars, endless and bright, waiting for her. The hunt had begun. But this time, she was not the prey. She was the hunter. I believed I had taken her life. But in truth, I nearly lost my own Part 3. The reckoning 40 cycles passed after Commander Viral. Koth killed the human woman on Helios 4. He did not think about her during that time. He completed other missions, eliminated other targets, and served the Dominion as he always had. Life continued as normal. Then the reports began to arrive. The first report came from a military outpost on the edge of Dominion space. The station had gone silent for 12 hours. When a recovery team arrived to investigate, they found something strange. All 40 soldiers on the station were alive, but none of them could move. They were sitting in chairs or lying on the floor, their eyes open, their bodies frozen in place. The station's weapons had been destroyed. Not damaged, but completely melted into useless lumps of metal. The engines of every ship in the docking bay had been removed and placed in a neat pile in the center of the hangar. It should have taken days to do such work. It had been done in less than an hour, carved into the main wall of the command center, in letters 2 meters tall, was a message in the Dominion's own language. You should have aimed for the head. Viral read this report with mild curiosity. It was strange, certainly, but not his concern. He was a hunter, not an investigator. Then the second report came. Another outpost, another group of frozen soldiers, another pile of destroyed weapons. This time, the message was different. I remember your face, Commander. Viral felt something cold move through his body. He read the report again. He looked at the location of the outpost. It was in the same sector where he had killed the human woman. It was a coincidence. It had to be a coincidence. The woman was dead. He had seen her body. He had confirmed the kill himself. The third report arrived the next day. A Dominion supply ship had been stopped in deep space. The crew was found paralyzed, their cargo scattered across the deck. The message carved into the hull read, 3 shots to the chest. I felt everyone. Viral could not pretend anymore. He went to his superiors and told them what he feared. They laughed at him at first. A dead human coming back to life? Impossible. Ridiculous. Then the fourth report came. And the fifth. And the sixth. Each time, the pattern was the same. Dominion soldiers found alive but helpless. Weapons destroyed. Ships disabled. Messages left behind, always referring to the commander who had killed a woman on Helios 4. The Dominion Council summoned Viral to their chamber. They did not laugh anymore. They were angry and afraid, though they tried to hide their fear behind harsh words. You told us she was dead, the High Counselor said. His voice echoed off the stone walls of the chamber. You sent photographs. You confirmed the kill. She was dead, Viral replied. His voice was steady, but his hands were shaking. I checked for a pulse. There was none. Her heart was not beating. She was dead. Then explain this. The counselor waved his hand, and a holographic image appeared in the center of the room. It was security footage from one of the attacked outposts. The image was grainy and dark, but Viral could see enough. He could see a small figure moving through the corridors of the station. A human female. She moved faster than any human should be able to move. Soldiers fired their weapons at her, and the plasma bolts struck her body without effect. She did not even slow down. She walked up to each soldier and touched them. just a simple touch on the forehead. And each soldier fell frozen, unable to move. At one point, she looked directly at the camera. Her face filled the screen. It was the same face Viral had seen through his rifle scope. The same dark hair, the same determined expression. But her eyes were different now. They glowed with golden light, bright and terrible. She smiled at the camera. Then she raised one finger and pointed at it, as if she was pointing at Viral himself. "I see you," she said. The footage ended. The council chamber was silent for a long moment. Then the High Counselor spoke. "You will find her. You will stop her. If you fail, we will hold you personally responsible for every attack she carries out." Viral bowed his head. "Yes, High Counselor." He returned to his ship and began his search. He studied every report, every piece of footage, every message she had left behind. He tried to find a pattern in her movements, a logic to her attacks, but there was no pattern. She appeared and disappeared without warning. She struck at random locations across Dominion space. She left no trail, no evidence of how she traveled from place to place, and the attacks continued. Viral lost count of how many outposts she disabled. 50, 100, 200. The number kept growing. The Dominion military was in chaos. Soldiers were afraid to go to their posts. Commanders were afraid to give orders. The strangest part was that she never killed anyone. Not a single death could be connected to her attacks. She destroyed weapons and ships and equipment, but she always left the people alive. Frozen and helpless, but alive. Viral did not understand this. He had killed her without a second thought. If their positions were reversed, he would have killed everyone in his path. That was how war worked. That was how the Dominion worked. But the human woman was not fighting a war. She was sending a message. She was showing the Dominion that she could kill them all if she wanted to, but she was choosing not to. She was demonstrating power through mercy. It was terrifying. Viral spent cycles chasing shadows. He followed rumors and reports across the galaxy. He arrived at outposts days or hours after she had left. He watched footage of her attacks over and over, searching for any weakness, any vulnerability. He found none. The council grew impatient. They demanded results. They threatened punishment. Viral ignored them. He was no longer thinking about his duty or his career. He was thinking about the woman he had killed on Helios 4. What had she found in that temple? What was the black sphere on the pedestal? What had it done to her? He needed answers. And there was only one person in the galaxy who could give them to him. Viral made a decision. He stopped chasing the woman. He stopped trying to find her. Instead, he waited. He stayed on his ship alone, and he waited for her to come to him. He knew she would. She had been leaving messages for him since the beginning. She wanted him to know she was alive. She wanted him to understand what he had done. She was coming for him. It was only a matter of time. Viral cleaned his rifle and sat in the darkness of his quarters. He did not sleep. He did not eat. He simply waited. And in the darkness of space, getting closer every day, Elena Vasquez was doing the same thing. I believed I had taken her life. But in truth, I nearly lost my own Part 4. The confrontation role. Woke to the sound of breathing that was not his own. He opened his eyes slowly. His quarters were dark, but he could see a shape sitting in the chair across from his sleeping area. A small shape. A human shape. Golden light glowed softly in the darkness, coming from where her eyes should be. Elena Vasquez had found him. Viral did not move. He did not reach for his weapon. He knew with complete certainty that any sudden movement would be his last. So he lay still and looked at the woman he had killed, the woman who was now sitting 3 meters away from him. "Hello, Commander," she said. Her voice was quiet and calm. "I have been looking forward to this meeting." Viral swallowed hard. His throat was dry. How long have you been on my ship?
3 days.
3 days. She had been here for 3 days, and he had not known. She had watched him sleep, watched him eat, watched him stare at reports about her attacks. She could have killed him at any moment. Why did you wait? He asked. I wanted you to understand something first. I wanted you to feel what I felt on Helios 4, the waiting, the knowing that death was coming, the helplessness. Viral sat up slowly. He could see her more clearly now. She looked the same as she had in the temple, small and tired and determined. But there was something different about her too, something that had not been there before. A weight, a presence, that made the air around her feel heavy. You came to kill me, he said. Elena shook her head. No, if I wanted to kill you, you would already be dead. I came to talk. Talk? After everything I did to you? Yes, after everything. She leaned forward. The golden glow in her eyes brightened slightly. I have killed before, Commander. Not since I woke up in that temple, but before. I was a soldier once, before I became a scientist. I know what it feels like to take a life. I know the weight of it. Viral said nothing. He waited. When you shot me, you did not feel that weight. You did not feel anything at all. I was just a target to you. Just a name on a list. You walked away from my body without a second thought. That is my job, Viral said. That is what the Dominion trained me to do. I know. And that is the problem. Elena stood up and walked to the window. The stars were bright outside, millions of points of light in the endless darkness. The Dominion has been ruling this galaxy for 10,000 years. In that time, they have conquered hundreds of species. They have destroyed entire civilizations. They have killed billions of innocent beings. We bring order, Viral said. The words felt hollow in his mouth, but he said them anyway. We bring peace. Elena laughed. It was a sad sound, without any real humor. You bring fear. You bring death. You crush anyone who might one day challenge your power. She turned to face him. Do you know why the Council ordered my death, Commander? Viral shook his head. Because I found proof. Proof that the Dominion is not the first great empire in this galaxy. Proof that others came before them, civilizations far more advanced than anything the Dominion has ever built. The Council has been hiding this truth for thousands of years. They destroy any evidence they find. They kill anyone who gets too close to the secret. The precursors? Viral whispered. Elena nodded. Yes, the precursors. They existed millions of years ago, long before any of the current species evolved. They built wonders that we cannot even imagine. And before they disappeared, they left gifts behind. Tools, weapons, things designed to help younger species survive. She touched her chest, where the plasma bolts had struck her. The sphere in that temple was one of those gifts. It changed me. It made me into something new. Something that cannot be killed by conventional weapons. Viral felt cold. What are you? I am still human, Elena said. I am still Elena Vasquez. But I am also more than I was. The precursors gave me the power to survive, and I intend to use it. Use it for what? Elena walked back toward him. She moved like water, smooth and silent. She stopped less than a meter away and looked down at him with those glowing golden eyes. The Dominion believes that strength is everything. They believe that the strongest species has the right to rule over all others. But they are wrong. Strength alone is not enough. The precursors were far stronger than the Dominion, and they are gone. The empires that ruled before them were strong too, and they are dust. She reached into her pocket and pulled out something small. It was Viral's sidearm. He had kept it under his pillow while he slept. She had taken it without waking him. Humanity is not the strongest species in the galaxy, Elena said. We are small and fragile and short-lived. But we have something that the Dominion does not understand. We adapt. We endure. We refuse to give up, no matter how bad things get. We have survived ice ages and plagues and wars that killed millions of our own people. We have clawed our way up from the mud and reached for the stars. She placed the weapon on the floor between them. I am not going to kill you, Commander. I am going to let you live, just like I have let all the others live. Because I want you to carry a message back to the Council. I want you to tell them what I told you. Viral looked at the weapon on the floor. He looked at the woman standing above him. He could grab the weapon and shoot her. He could try to end this right now, but he knew it would not work. He had shot her before, and she had come back. He had watched footage of soldiers emptying their weapons into her body, and she had not even slowed down. What message? He asked. Elena smiled. It was the first real smile he had seen on her face. Tell them that humanity is coming. Tell them that the old rules no longer apply. Tell them that the next time they try to destroy a species to protect their power, they will find me waiting for them. She turned and walked toward the door. Then she stopped and looked back over her shoulder. And tell them one more thing, Commander. Tell them that I remember every face, every name, every person the Dominion has murdered to keep their secrets safe. I remember all of them. The golden light in her eyes flared bright enough to fill the room, and I am very, very patient. Then she was gone. The door did not open or close. She simply vanished, like smoke disappearing in the wind. Viral sat alone in the darkness for a long time. He looked at his weapon on the floor. He thought about the woman who had spared his life. He thought about the empire he had served for 40 cycles. And for the first time in his life, Commander Viral Koth began to doubt. I believed I had taken her life, but in truth, I nearly lost my own Part 5. The new dawn. The transmission appeared on every screen in the galaxy. At the same moment. It did not matter what kind of device you had. It did not matter where you were or what you were doing. If you had a screen, you saw her face. If you had speakers, you heard her voice. Elena Vasquez looked directly at the camera. Her eyes glowed with golden light. Behind her, stars drifted slowly past the window. She was on a ship somewhere, though no one could identify its location. My name is Dr. Elena Vasquez, she said. I am a human scientist from Earth. 7 months ago, the Dominion sent an assassin to kill me. They believed they had succeeded. They were wrong. Across the galaxy, billions of beings stopped what they were doing and listened. The Dominion has ruled this galaxy for 10,000 years. In that time, they have told you many things. They have told you that they bring peace and order. They have told you that their power is necessary for the survival of civilization. They have told you that there is no alternative to their rule. She paused. The golden light in her eyes seemed to pulse with each word. They have lied to you. In the council chamber of the Dominion homeworld, the High Counselor watched the transmission with growing horror. His advisors scrambled to shut it down, but nothing they did had any effect. The signal was coming from everywhere and nowhere at once. It could not be blocked. 10,000 years ago, Elena continued, the Dominion discovered evidence of an ancient civilization. The precursors. These beings existed millions of years before any current species evolved. They built technology beyond anything we can imagine. And before they disappeared, they left gifts behind for the species that would come after them. She held up her hand. Golden light gathered around her fingers, bright and beautiful. The Dominion found these gifts, and instead of sharing them with the galaxy, they buried them. They destroyed every trace of the precursors they could find. They killed anyone who learned the truth. They did this because they were afraid. Afraid that if other species gained access to this power, the Dominion would no longer be supreme. The High Counselor turned to his military commander. Find her. Find her now. But the commander could only shake his head. Every ship, every soldier, every weapon in the Dominion fleet was frozen. The same technology that had disabled hundreds of outposts was now working on a galactic scale. The Dominion's entire military was helpless. Elena smiled at the camera. I am living proof that the precursors existed. I am living proof of what their gifts can do. The Dominion tried to kill me because I found one of these artifacts. Instead, the artifact saved me. It changed me. It gave me the power to survive anything. She lowered her hand. The golden light faded, but her eyes continued to glow. I am not showing you this to make you afraid. I am showing you this to give you hope. The precursors left their gifts for all species, not just one. They wanted life to survive and grow and reach its full potential. The Dominion has been denying you that birthright for 10,000 years. On 100 different worlds, beings who had lived under Dominion rule for their entire lives looked at each other with new eyes. They had always been told that resistance was impossible. They had always been told that the Dominion was too strong to challenge. Now they knew the truth. I have spent the last 7 months showing the Dominion that they are not invincible. I have disabled their outposts. I have destroyed their weapons. I have walked through their defenses like they were nothing. And I have not killed a single person. Elena leaned closer to the camera. I could have killed them. Every soldier who stood in my way, every commander who hunted me, every counselor who ordered my death. I could have killed them all. But I chose not to. Because humanity does not believe in ruling through fear. We believe in something better. She stood up and walked to the window of her ship. The stars stretched out behind her, infinite and eternal. The Dominion's time is over. Not because I'm going to destroy them, but because I am going to show the galaxy that there is another way. A way where species work together instead of conquering each other. A way where knowledge is shared instead of buried. A way where life is protected instead of destroyed. She turned back to face the camera one last time. My name is Elena Vasquez. I am human. And I am proof that death is not the end. It is only the beginning of something new. The transmission ended. For a moment, the galaxy was silent. Then, slowly, the silence gave way to sound. Voices raised in wonder. Voices raised in hope. Voices raised in defiance of everything the Dominion had taught them to believe. On a dozen worlds, uprisings began before the transmission was even finished. On 100 more, resistance movements that had been dormant for generations suddenly came back to life. The Dominion soldiers were still frozen, their weapons still useless. By the time they recovered, the galaxy had changed forever. Commander Viral Koth watched the chaos unfold from his quarters. He saw the reports flooding in from every sector. Rebellions, uprisings, colonies declaring independence. The Dominion's carefully maintained order was collapsing like a house of cards. He thought about the human woman who had spared his life. He thought about the choice she had given him. He could fight to preserve the empire he had served for 40 cycles. Or he could accept that the old ways were ending and find a new path. Viral looked at his uniform. He looked at his medals. He looked at the rifle he had used to kill hundreds of beings in the name of the Dominion. Then he took off his uniform and set it aside. He removed his medals and placed them in a box. He picked up his rifle and carried it to the airlock. He opened the outer door and watched it tumble into the void of space. When he returned to his quarters, he sat down at his communication console and began composing a message. It was addressed to the resistance movement that had formed on his homeworld, the one he had spent years trying to destroy. The message was simple. My name is Viral Koth. I was a commander in the Dominion fleet. I have done terrible things in the name of an empire built on lies. I cannot undo what I have done, but I can help you build something better. If you will have me, I would like to join your cause. He sent the message and leaned back in his chair. Outside his window, the stars continued to shine. The same stars that had witnessed the rise and fall of countless empires. The human woman had been right. Strength alone was not enough. The strongest species did not always win. Sometimes the winners were the ones who refused to give up, who kept fighting even when all hope seemed lost, who believed that death was not the end, but only a new beginning. Humanity had learned this lesson long ago, on a small blue planet far from the center of the galaxy. They had survived ice ages and plagues and wars. They had clawed their way up from nothing and reached for the stars. And now, thanks to one small human woman who had refused to stay dead, the entire galaxy was learning the same lesson. The Dominion had believed they were invincible. They had believed their power would last forever. They had believed that killing one scientist on a desert planet was a simple matter, easily forgotten. They had been wrong about all of it. And as the old order crumbled and a new dawn rose across the galaxy, Commander Viral Koth finally understood the truth that Elena Vasquez had tried to teach him. You should never underestimate humanity, because when you kill a human, you had better make sure they stay dead. And humans, as it turned out, were very bad at staying dead.